So I'll probably get in trouble for this because my team doesn't even realize that I'm doing this. I think they didn't find out until this morning, about an hour ago. So and I like to do stuff like this when we're collaborating. So what I'm going to do, I like to do it this way because I like it. Nobody really knows I'm going live except I have, I notified everyone, but no one knows that I'm going live. So I'm gonna jump on and get someone live on in a moment, and we're gonna do some collabs so you guys can see. And I like to do it raw because it just helps. It helps for people who are learning and looking to learn, and you get the opportunity to see how stuff really happens for real. So with that, uh, we're gonna we're gonna get rolling. So let's see. I think we are live. So yep, we are. I just don't see. I can't see who's here. Other than that, we're gonna get rolling. So with that, let's just go. I got to get my Zoom on because I'm supposed to meet them on Zoom, and I got to get my lights and stuff going. So you guys are seeing this stuff raw, right? So if you're logging in, if you're looking and you're seeing what's happening, I'm gonna let's see. We're just gonna get everything rolling in a second, and so just bear with me, and then we'll see how this collaboration stuff really goes. I'm gonna help out a broker today who has questions about Airbnb and Airbnb passive income, and it's gonna be, I don't know how it's gonna be. Honestly, I wish I could tell you because I never met her before, but someone said that they would love for me to talk with her because they knew her, and I said sure, I will do that. So that's what I'm gonna do. All right. So so now we're also live on Zoom, and we'll just get that part going too. So, and if she's not shy, I'll get her on YouTube as well, and we'll just go live there, right? But if she's shy, it ain't gonna happen. So let's see if we can. Lost my thing for a second, but we'll be back on and rolling. So let's see where we at. Need to move a little slow. All right. Okay. Hello, hello, hello. Can anybody hear me? Hello. Anybody hear me? Let's see here. Hello, hello. Can anybody hear me? Leslie, I see. I can't. You're on mute, and I'm gonna ask you to start your video. Right. All right. There she is. All right. So I see the video. Tony's getting going. It looks like Tony's getting his stuff going.
I am not in a position really to
I
put
see.
my video on.
Oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord. All right. We gonna change that then. So you can you good. Cause I was gonna ask you today if you're shy, cause like right now I'm streaming live, but they can't see you. If you wasn't shy, I would say, okay, let's hop on so that they can actually see you. But today we gonna be shy. We can hear you, but we can't see you. So talk to me, Leslie. You know what? Tony's just trying to get in. I don't know what's going on with his audio. He'll be here in a second. It looks like he's trying to get on. But where are you calling from?
Rochester, New York.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, so that's one of my stomping grounds. I'm only there a few months out of the year, but we got a lot going on out there. You know, we got a number of Airbnbs, and that's, you know, and I still have family there. My son is there, and my sister-in-law is there, and and we still have a home there as well. But we have a ton of Airbnbs there. So and but yeah, hello. Are you originally from Rochester?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
So,
talk to me. What are you doing out there? What do you do out there?
I'm a loan officer. I work for a bank. Now I've been a loan officer for the past 25 years.
Okay.
Um, and I've dabbled in real estate before. But I don't own anything right now. My daughter has a double that I kind of manage for her. But other than my primary, I don't own any other real estate. And I've been thinking about getting back into it, but I just haven't done it yet. And so when I met, well, I already knew Tony before, and I just seen him just recently.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we were having a conversation, and I was like, yeah, you know, I might be interested in trying to do something. And he was like, oh, well, let me connect you with you, I guess. And that's how that went.
you, you said, let me connect you with you. So, yeah. So now I want to tell you, I don't own anything either. Like there once was a time though, I owned a whole lot of stuff. I had like 250 units in my portfolio. And
Wow.
yeah, and you know, it was all cool. That was my big dream, to be a multi-million dollar real estate investor. And
Mhm.
and so I accomplished that. And then I realized though, you know, that for me it was it like getting there, making that my first $1 million a year, hitting that mark about 20 years ago. It was a little bit, I mean, it was great, like, but it was a grind. It was a hustle and a grind. And it was because I was doing it traditionally, right? I was doing a lot of rehabs, and, you know, holding and flipping and managing our stuff, and I found I had like this team. In fact, I don't know if are you familiar with Culver Merchants?
Yeah.
Yeah, that area, that big old bank building on the corner. Like
Yeah.
it's a 12,000 square foot building. I used to own that building. That's where I had my team. We had like 50 people working for us. So that big bank building, we were doing places all over the world, and then working with people all over the world. But then I realized though that, you know, I was living my dream, but as a husband and a father, I was a great provider, but I wasn't a great husband and father because I was never around. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like I eventually had to figure that out, but it wasn't me. I didn't have to figure it out. The Lord. You remember the market crash too in 2008, 7, 8, 9, right? I had the subprime market just went.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people lost a lot of money. I was one of them, and you know, he hit the reset button, right? He hit that reset button, and I ended up eventually, after a couple of years, just shutting it all down and just becoming dad. Like, I was taking my kids to all the things. I was taking them to school and going to their schools and being involved that way. And so it was, although it was a really trying time for me, it was probably the best thing that I needed at the time. Right. Because I learned to become dad, and I learned to be husband. And anyway, so even though you don't own properties, I tell you all of that to tell you that even though you don't own properties today, that you don't, it's not like you're, I just say if you're not really missing anything, right? You don't, it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It's just, it depending on how you do it, it was a grind. Eventually when I recovered though, like I recovered and I was like, okay, I started building back up my portfolio again. I'm like, I don't want to do this. Like I really don't want to go back into that life again. And then he blessed me with a homeless ministry, and then I still had portfolio, but I was still doing traditional rentals, right? But then I had a huge Christian men's following, homeless following, where I was just putting the people in my places, the home, just and ministering to them and taking them to church and giving them jobs, and that grew and grew and grew, and that was awesome. It was something I never wanted to do, but it was something that I was called to do, and so I had to stop running from the calling, and when I stopped running, the Lord really just blessed me with some experiences that I would have never, and some growth that I would have never gotten in a million years. So, so and then
Interesting.
and then Airbnb eventually came. There's a few other things that happened. I mentored my daughter when she came out of school in real estate. When she came out of college, she wanted to be mentored in real estate, so I mentored her. And then from there, I realized, oh my gosh, like I'm getting ready to teach her the same stuff that I was saying no to, right? And she gonna end up being a great provider, but not a great mom and wife eventually. So I was like, nah, we ain't gonna do this. So I pivoted. I was like, after a year or so of mentoring her, she did great. But then I pivoted, and I figured out, man, Airbnb might be the way to go. Let me test it. Let me check it out. And I did. I tested it for a couple of weeks, and I was like, this is gonna work. It allows you to have the freedom to be, to be able to be home and travel the world. It allows you the cash flow without having to be overseeing a bunch of grown folk. I don't like that part. We had 50 people working for us, and it was like, oh my goodness. And then it also allows you the cash flow to really just have your time and not have to worry about punching somebody else's clock. And so so that's how Airbnb kind of came about. And since then, I mean, we have hundreds of places all over the country. Right now, we are also in Jamaica. You can see my shirt. We just came back from Jamaica last week. We were this week. I got back on Monday. We had a number of students that were out there, and we took them out, and we looked at some of the places that we have and that they picked up as well. We helped them get. And then we just had a great time, collaborated and did some things. And so I'm wearing my Jamaica shirt. I'm half Jamaican now. Don't tell Jamaicans that I'm half Jamaican, because they'd be like, nah, you a foreigner. So but listen, it was an amazing time. And but that's how Airbnb came about for us. And now so I know, and Tony, hey Tony, what's up? You made it, brother.
Good morning. I did. I was on, but I had my phone in my shirt because I'm trying to get packed. And
oh yeah,
I looked. I'm like, oh geez, it didn't notify me.
yeah. Tony's living that living that life too. He's like, he about to head to Las Vegas. Tony's one of our Wealth BNB students, and he got, I don't know how many listings you got. Have you counted them yet? I think last time I keep saying 36 or 38, but
nope. No, 54
listings. He started from scratch. I met Tony for the first time, like in an introduction like this, from a gentleman that you may or may not know. He used to be the owner of the president of the local RIA group out there, Leon, and he introduced me to Tony, and we met probably about 6, 7, 8 months ago. Then he started with 0 Airbnb experience, and now he's got 54 listings. So, and he's just doing his
Really?
thing. Yeah.
Well, I know his wife. So his wife, is a real estate agent, of course. And so we've done business together throughout the years. And I know they kind of retired, I guess, a little bit from that. I don't see her around as much. I don't think she really sells as much anymore. Probably just by referral or something. But
I didn't know, Tony, I didn't know
Yeah.
Tynice was a realtor.
No, he's talking about Leon.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Leon's wife is a realtor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, they're kind of traveling around too these days with the grandkids. The grandkids are growing up fast, so he's doing a lot of traveling. But Leon, Leon just likes to keep his hands dirty. Last time when I was back in New York, I took him on the yacht. We hung out on the yacht, just me, him, and my wife and my nephew. It was just the four of us, and he pulled up in his pickup truck, and in his pickup truck, I'm like, Leon, what you doing? He said, man, I was just working on this rehab. So, and I'm like, oh my, you almost 80 years old and you still working on rehabs, bro. Like, come on, man. He said, yeah, I just like to be busy sometimes. That's, I still do things the old fashioned way. I'm like, Lord, brother. But yeah. So yeah, he's still out there. He's still out and about. I haven't spoken to him. I'll probably connect with him when I head back to New York in a couple months and do some things. So. But yeah, so what is it you're looking to do, and what are you up to? You said you're a mortgage broker. Is that what it is?
No, I'm not a mortgage broker. I'm a loan officer.
A loan officer.
I don't broker. I work for just one bank.
Oh, okay.
I used to broker a long time ago, but
okay,
like early 2000s.
Oh my goodness.
Before the meltdown, I was the broker.
Oh, okay.
And then after the meltdown, obviously, I was not a broker.
You were not a broker. No, there was no brokers. The brokers were running. They were running for cover. Because it was getting hot because all that subprime stuff was coming. Oh my goodness, it was hot.
Yeah. So back then I had a small brokerage. I had a couple of loan officers that worked, and I also had my real estate brokerage back then. So I was one of those people I wasn't showing you a house unless I can get you a mortgage.
That's right. Smart.
And that worked well for several years until, like 2007, and when a lot of the lenders, finance companies were just like shutting their doors. So then I decided, I'm like, well, either I'm going to sell real estate full time or do financing. And at the time I was pregnant with my last child, and I'm like, I don't want to be out there stomping the streets with a baby. And so I decided to get a job at a bank.
Yeah.
And I've been at a bank ever since.
Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah, I that was one of my former lives too. I was a commercial loan officer, vice president at Key for a number of years before I said, okay, it's time to go. It's time to go out and really make my mark. And so I did that, but that was back, as I said, that was probably I left Key about 23 years ago. And and after like my second year gone, that's when I hit my first $1 million a year in real estate investing. But that was a great experience. And that was my dream job too at the time. It was my dream job, but I realized it wasn't my dream to be punching a clock and having I got to learn everybody else's business so I can lend them a bunch of money. But but what about my business? Like I wasn't, and that was limited too, because they're making millions and I was only making 100,000 or so a year, and that was nice. Like it was nice, but it's like, wait, but it wasn't my dream. I only went into banking because because I had to get a job to start doing real estate. That's what I was taught. I was taught that you got to get a job in order to borrow money to get real estate. And I fell into that lie. And then nine years later, I realized, man, this was not working the way I as fast as I was expecting it to. It's working, but it ain't working fast. So I had to cut and run and sign my letter of resignation. Well, I had a plan. I worked that plan for about a year while I was working, and while I was working on the side, I was doing my real estate, and I had made like $300,000 that year on the real estate, and I signed my letter of resignation, said bye-bye, and I was out. 2 years later, making $1 million a year. So I mean, it's a great, it's a great job to have if you got to work. It's a great job to have. I don't like to work.
If you got to work, yeah.
If you got to work.
Well, I mean, I always say that, it's about having the option not to work. Now, so you say you don't like to work, but you still work.
Yeah, but
you still work, but not to that degree.
Yeah. So when I say work, I guess I got a different definition of work, right?
Yeah.
So my definition of work is a little bit different. Like when I was in Jamaica, I was working. I was working on the beach. I was working on the boat. I was working in the restaurants, eating all that good food. I was working, hanging out with my students. I was working while I was worshiping. I was working while we were riding the horses and riding the ATVs. I was working. That I didn't consider work, right? That's what I do, but it wasn't work because I loved what I was doing. It was fun. I was with great, amazing people doing great, amazing things, and we all have the same why, right? And our big why is about the vision that God's given us for our life and our family, building that legacy, having the ability to spend that quality time, more of that quality time with family and loved ones, being able to, again, build the legacy with our kids and grandkids, being able to help family members who really need it, being more of a blessing to our church, being able to break those generational cycles and of financial bondage for our family, and being able to begin building that generational wealth as well, while we're able to travel and build on the gifts that God's blessed us with, so that we can all make our mark on the world, on our families, and on society the way we're called to. That's work now. And to me, I don't consider that work, but I'll just say, like, yeah, I don't like the work based on today's.
You don't like the punch a clock, right?
Yeah, I don't like the punch a clock, having to be on someone else's time to do something for them that's taken away from my family, so that they can have more time for their family. And then we do that for a year, 2 years, 3 years. We give them the best year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years of our lives, taken away from our family. And then at the end, what do we have to show for it? Maybe a pension, maybe some Social Security. I'm talking most people. I'm not talking you. I'm saying most people in America. And then when they call it retirement, they still admit most people, based on the statistics, got to go back and get a job so that they can that they can handle their health insurance. Like that's work. That's work. That's to me, it's another form of slavery. So no, I don't like to work. I really love to be able to share my gifts with people who have the same big whys and the desires as well. And when I'm doing that, like it's not work to me. So yeah, I am working, but it ain't work. I like this. The same thing I'm doing with you right now. Like I'm hanging out with you, but this ain't work. It's fun. This is fun.
Right.
So
tell me about starting up in the Airbnb business.
Well,
coaching someone to do that, or what exactly it is that you would do. or that you do?
Oh man, we do a lot of things, but we keep it simple, right? I mean, that's the key.
Okay.
And it's really broken down into three key things right now that we focus on. And the three key things that we're focused on is having is more listings than you can handle, like Tony. Like Tony cannot handle all those listings that he has. Having more bookings than you can handle, and then having access to more money than you have a need for. And so we keep it kind of in that little box, so that now it kind of forces you to do what I'm doing and what Tony's doing, which is, and many other students are doing, which is where you have to learn how to manage and delegate and use systems so that you're not in the weeds working.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You're not in the weeds working, because in your business, you could create a second job too. And that's work, right? You out there running and striving and doing all kinds of stuff. That could be work if you don't do that right. While you're building, sometimes you have to do that. But in any case, that's kind of what we do in a nutshell. We help our students to do those things in phases. So being able to get your first places, and you could do it in as little as, like, if you really looking to just do it on your own, you can do it, and you can have landlords and owners reaching out to you in as little as 24 to 48 hours in your area, inviting you out to take a look at their places. One, so you can see how nice the places are, and two, so you could begin discussing you leasing those places for your own Airbnb business. And then, like, people like Tony, the way he grew, he was like, Jim, I am not trying to do all that. He's like, that's cool, but I ain't trying to be running around meeting with a bunch of landlords. So he's in our Wealth B&B program, where he's able to just select properties right out of my portfolio, and he's getting those, and then boom, those things are just working for him the same way they were working for me. So that's a relationship that he has, and he grew from 0 to 54 in like 4 months. And he's about to hit, he'll be at about $1 million, like his next, because he's like, Jim, I want to get some more stuff. So he's looking to pick up some more. He'll be at about $1 million within the next couple months, $1 million a year in cash flow. So
yeah, Tony's probably one of those people like Leon Griggs. Like, when he was working, he had 3 jobs. You had 3 jobs, Tony.
Yeah, that's yep.
And right now he still has he has a real estate agent license, and he likes to putter around doing stuff. He's got traditional real estate. And I was like, yo, Tony, hold it. What are you doing? He's like, man, look, I got these places, and he said that's where I got in the Airbnb. So eventually I won't have to have all these places. I don't want, and now it's just a matter of just getting his balance, because his trajectory was so fast, and he went so fast. Now he's just, that's why we're waiting. I put the brakes on, like, just slow down, like, just slow down, let you get your head around everything, and once you begin that, then you get your next round, and then with that, you could start even considering what you're going to do with those other places, because he could turn those into Airbnbs as well.
Mm-hmm.
He could just sell them like I did before I came to Florida. I'm in Florida now, but before I came to Florida, I sold all my traditional rentals, the ones where tenants didn't want to move, and they were good tenants, so I ain't gonna kick them out just to make more money on Airbnb. I just sold the places, and then and the only thing I have now is just my own place there, and all my Airbnbs, which I actually lease them. So that's the thing you were asking, how do you do these? So we also lease them. So I'm just a tenant in a place that a landlord knows what I'm using them for. And I lease them. So I don't have the headache of maintenance. When I say maintenance, I'm talking about if there's any major repairs. I don't have the headache of, because we take care of the place, right? If because we got teams that are making sure those places really look good when our guests are coming,
Mhm.
our professional guests, right? And so we take care of the places in that sense. But if there's any major things that are needed, that's the landlord's responsibility. No property taxes. I don't have to deal with. We don't have to deal with uh, housing inspectors and all that
Mhm.
other stuff. So we got the best of both worlds. We get to control the property without all the headaches, and we're making as much, if not more, than the owners are making on average throughout the year, where when the places fit formula. And formula is whatever we're renting, the Airbnb will be producing. That place has to produce at least 2 to 3 times what we're paying in rent, right? And and because of that, that's how we're able to get financial independence and freedom so quickly, because we don't own the places, but we're making as much as the owners are making or more. So that's and then you utilize cash flow and access to other resources to financial resources inside of our money mastery side of things, where again, having access to more money than you actually need, then you have the ability to grow and scale like Tony
I see.
did. Yeah. And it's pretty cool. It's fun. But it ain't, I mean, it it ain't it's still not for everyone. A lot of people just look at all the glitz and the glamour and all this stuff, but
Mhm.
you still gotta become the person that the work that you got to do the work, and you got to become the person so that that all this stuff that makes it work has the ability to work for. If you're not the person that has the ability to work for, then it's just you're still gonna end up with just a lot of stuff that is just a pain in the neck, right? Because it like it goes fast, and there's a lot of money involved. There's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes, from a mindset perspective, if you're still trying to do things the old traditional real estate way with the same old mindset, when you come into this realm, it's gonna it's not as fun. And so, but that part is easy too, because our community is a great community where everybody's been through it. So like ain't nobody's out there on their own, and unless and then everybody is embraced. So it's not hard to transform into the person that has the ability to work for, because there's so many other people that have gone through it, just like you or anyone else who's new get started when they get started.
Mm-hmm. So tell me about your your coaching. I see it says Jim G Coaching Club. So what's the club?
That is a club. I just told you about it. All the people, the community, in the community, there's just people from all over the world who I spend a lot of time with them throughout the week. People that we flew them out on the plane to Jamaica. Like, it's professionals, moms, dads, people from all over the world who have that same big why that I mentioned earlier, their reasons, and we share in that together. And so they're either learning how to pick up places themselves. They're either picking them up the way I show them, the way I do it, or they're picking places out of my portfolio. And wherever they are, I'm guiding them throughout the week, because we meet almost every day throughout the week, and then just guiding them, hand holding them through that process. And we talk about a lot of things. It's not just tool sets and skill sets, but it's also a big portion of it is mindset, because you still got to transform to become the person. You get this huge inheritance, and you have a poor man's mindset. Like the lottery winners, when they win the lottery, most of them in 5 years are where are they in 5 years?
Right.
They're back to where they were, in many cases even worse. So a lot of it is also about mindset and transformation. But we meet almost every day, and that's the community, and people do collaborations, and we have, and then we have people that are part of our programs who they're building their Airbnb businesses in a much bigger way, where they have multiple streams of Airbnb income, and I help them with that as well. Right, so
yeah, on this video call real quick.
But yeah, so
I'm sorry, that's my son.
Oh, hey son. Hey son, what's up, brother?
Today's his birthday. He's
Happy
25 today.
Happy birthday.
Birthday.
What's his name?
Oh my.
Jonathan.
Hey Jonathan. How old is Jonathan?
25.
25. So wow, I can't remember being 25. Man.
You look about 20, 25, 30.
Oh,
stop it.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you, my program is not free, so stop trying to get it for free. That was very nice of you, but I know, but no, definitely not 25. Yeah, my youngest child is 26, so yeah, 25. I think no, she's 25, because she'll hear this. She's probably on. She'll hear this, and she's like, "You got my age wrong again." Right? You know how that is, right? Yeah. So congratulations.
So he was born in 99.
Yeah.
He was born in 99. Yeah. So he's the 90s. Barely, he's a 90s baby.
Yeah. Congratulations,
thing
Jonathan.
With younger kids, is like, being a 90s baby. I don't know what that's all about, but anyway.
Oh, okay.
So, I do have a couple questions though for you.
Okay.
Because you're in the mortgage industry, the finance, and I mean, the lending industry. And I know people are on YouTube listening to this right now. So tell us, like, what is your experience as a mortgage? I mean, as a lender. That's what you're a lender. So as a lender, what do you look for when you're lending people money for business? Are you lending personally? Are you lending for them for personal usage? Are you commercial? Are you a
residential?
Residential. Okay, so you're residential. Like, what kinds of things do you look for when you're looking to lend money to people? When people come to you and say, "Hey, I want to buy this house."
Right. So working at the bank in the residential unit, I only do residential 1 to 4 unit, right? Mm-hmm. Can be owner occupied or not owner occupied. And so for most banks and mortgage brokers, we are kind of regulated to whatever requirements the GSEs put down to banks, because that's how the mortgage money keeps the flow in America, is through the government sponsored entities, which is Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, right? Mm-hmm. They control the mortgage money flow. So they have criteria for borrowers, and they have automated systems that they use. So when someone is interested in getting qualified for a mortgage, say they're first time, second time, or what have you, we have to run their information through this automated system. And if the automated system says yes, then you can be approved. If the automated system says no, then the individual bank has the option of doing what we call a manual underwrite. And so that's when pretty much you have a human being that's going to evaluate the situation and see, is this file still warranted for approval?
Okay.
Right. Mm-hmm. So most of the mortgages that banks are doing, is kind of dictated by that, because they can sell that loan to the GSEs, recover their money, and then lend again. Right. Okay. Banks don't hold mortgages on their balance sheet for 30 years. They sell them off. Yep. On the secondary market.
I hope y'all heard that. Hope y'all heard that. Because there's a gem in there. The banks don't hold it. They sell them off. So go ahead. Go ahead. That's now, where the money's at. There is a portion of loans that banks do hold on their balance sheet, and they still may not hold it for 30 years. They may hold it for 1 or 2 or 3 years, and then they will try to collateralize those and sell those off as well.
but those are called portfolio loans.
Mm.
Portfolio loans are not dictated by the GSEs. The portfolio loans are dictated by that particular lender, kind of like an in-house loan for them. So they create their own rules and guidelines on how they want to lend that money.
Mm.
So generally speaking, that's how it goes. The problem that a lot of people that look like you and I have is that our financial criteria does not meet that of the GSEs. So when we enter our information, you know, I'm not going to say 9 times out of 10, because I hate to say that. I'll say,
You can say it.
I'll be generous and say 5 times out of 10, it's going to tell us no.
And that's typically because of what? Is it due to credit? Is it due to derogatories? Is it due to income? Is it due to why? Why would you say that is the case?
Mainly is due to credit and assets.
Credit.
So when you're qualifying for a mortgage, they want to see what your credit profile is. They want to see how stable your income is and where your income is coming from, and if it's an acceptable source, right, for the bank. And then they want to take a look at your assets, basically the money that you have available, liquid or not, whether that money is going to be used for the transaction or not. And then secondly, they're looking at their collateral, which is the property.
Mm.
Or I say lastly. So basically those 4 things are the components of if a bank is going to make a loan or not.
Mm. Interesting. So I hope y'all heard all that, because one thing that is so important, and that's why we have a piece in our program that, like, we have 3 pillars. One pillar is growth and freedom. So you grow, as you're growing your cash flow, you're growing your portfolio for cash flow. And the way you get your time and your freedom is via automation. So you got your time and your freedom so you can continue to grow. And then you also have the transformation, as I talked about, the mindset. And then you also have the 3rd pillar. So the 2nd pillar is transformation, but the 3rd pillar is money mastery. She just got finished saying, Leslie just got finished saying how most people are turned down for bank funding, traditional funding. They're turned down for traditional funding because, in essence, she said, they haven't managed their finances properly. And a lot of it is due to the financial education that many of us don't really grow up having, right? We're not educated in how to manage our finances, whether it be our credit, whether it be building assets, whether it be the right way to use those assets. Is that kind of like, in a nutshell, what the reasons why, Leslie?
Right.
And then we develop a lot of bad habits, right?
Right. A lot of it is credit. Like, we're not taught credit, at the dinner table. We're not, we see our parents have always, not always, but for the most part, they're struggling, right? So it's not that, our culture, we don't want to pay our bills on time. It's just that we don't have the capacity really to pay everything on time and live. So it's like a rat race. So people don't understand the importance of credit. And they think that, if you can kind of hide, you can duck and dodge, right? You had a bill, you didn't take care of it. You don't really feel the repercussions of that on a daily until you get ready to buy a house. You can duck and dodge the old utility bill or the car repo, or, you can still live day to day and have those things kind of hanging on your back. But when you get ready to buy a house, the traditional way, that's the first thing that we're going to do is take a look at your credit report.
Yeah.
I mean, I have people who, it's sad to say, I have clients that I'm working with right to this day they're 60 years old and have never purchased their own home. They're doing it on the cusp of retirement. Kids are grown, you know, maybe they got grandkids. But one of my big things, and that's one of the reasons why I've been doing what I've been doing for so long. Like, I didn't chose to be a loan officer or work in this space. It kind of, you know, I kind of fell into it and it kind of chose me. But the home ownership rates amongst, you know, Black and brown people across the country, you know, are like low 30s compared to our white counterparts that are at 70%. You know, so that's years and years and years of, you know, equity that we haven't been able to pass on, or property that we haven't been able to pass on to our own children, right? Somebody else has been able to take advantage of that, not the person who's actually making that monthly payment or that monthly rental payment.
You know,
so that's one of the things that I'm like really passionate about in this home ownership for the underserved or unserved.
You know, as you say that, Leslie, you know what it reminds me of? I appreciate you sharing, because I hope y'all are hearing this, because it's real. Like, Leslie is someone who's in the realist, like, she lends money for one of the top banks in the area, and she lends money, but she works, it's for houses and real estate. So I did some research recently, just to update some stuff in my Family Financial Freedom Challenge. I do the Family Financial Freedom Challenge once or twice a month, where I spend 4 days with everyone that comes in, 2 hours a day, helping them to get going with Airbnb, and I take them through the steps and mindsets. And it's really a great time. We all hang out, have a great time, and then they get off and running. But one of the things I was doing the research for was just to get some updated numbers on some things I wanted to share. And I looked at the research that talked about the top like well, first of all, I found out that the number of millionaires created in America per year, it was like, what was the number? It was, what was the number? It was a big number. New millionaire, so I'll get it right here. So I'll just look it up real quick that I found it. And it said, where we at? Really? Well, it's not coming up. I have my research, but it was like the number was like there was like 12,000 or something like that. 12,000 new millionaires. Now there's 330,000 people, 330 million people, million people in the country, and there's like 12,000 new millionaires. Like, that's better than winning the lottery. But they said new millionaires every year, and it said that the 3 ways that most millionaires got started or built their empires was, or got to that point, because that's not really an empire. I don't think, just making your first million, to most people it's a lot of money, but once you get there, you realize it ain't really a lot of money. But but the way they got there, the top 3 ways was, 1 was owning real estate, 2 was owning a business, and 3 was investing in real estate. Investing. Now, investing was 3rd. It was of the top 3, but as investors, they were talking about investing in real estate, in some sort of real estate. So real estate was 2 of the top 3 of how most millionaires became millionaires in America. And so, as Leslie's talking about real estate and owning your own home, how do you do that? Well, you have to, in order to own a house, I'm going to tell you, you got to get access to money. I didn't say you had to have money. I said you have to get access to money. When I first started out, I didn't have no money. I had no credit. I had no money. I had no experience. I was 20 years old when I got my first piece of property. And what I had though was the desire and the determination, and I was willing to do what it took to learn and understand how to make it happen. And I ordered my first infomercial course, which was Carlton Sheets. I don't know, Leslie, if you go back that far. Carlton Sheets, how to buy real estate, no money down. And that's what I did. And I learned and learned and learned. It took me a year to get my first one. And then I bought into the lie that I needed a job, because Carlton said, you don't need a job. But I bought into the lie after getting my first one that you did need a job. And then 9 years later, I realized, oh my gosh, like I could have been rich already. It took me this long to figure it out that it wasn't it. Anyway, so, but you have to be able to, like, if you got real estate, if like real estate is a game. Airbnb it's not about owning real estate. It's about controlling real estate. You don't have to necessarily own it, but you got to be able to control it. And the way we're doing it, I'm not owning anything. I ain't owning any of that stuff. I don't want all the headaches. I don't care about people. I'd rather have $1 million in cash flow than $1 million in equity any day. I knew a lot of people, and I was at one point where you had all this equity, all these real estate, and you can't even rub two nickels together. I'm sure you've seen that, Leslie, in your day.
Right? I see that a lot, because people can't leverage it, and they want to leverage it in some way or another and convert it into cash. But you gotta have the credit and able to do it.
And here's the thing. This is the reason why I say I love the $1 million in cash flow versus the $1 million in equity, is because I don't gotta go and beg nobody for nothing when I got the cash flow. It's mine. When like she just said, you don't know how to leverage it. You got the real estate, but you got to go beg somebody to lend you some money. And they could say no. And if they say no, then guess what? You ain't got no cash. You just got a bunch of equity. And so it ain't about the equity. Now you can have both, because when you got cash flow down, you can buy some stuff, and now you can get equity if you want, if that's what you choose to do. But cash flow is first, and they don't teach you that. They don't teach us that. They teach us in the wrong order, so everybody else can make money before we do, right? And that's what I was doing for 9 years, working the job of my dreams, but not living my dream, right? And I realized I'm doing something wrong. I'm still doing something wrong. So now, what you said helped me to also understand this. One of the biggest lessons I learned when I went to Jamaica. Listen, first of all, that country is so beautiful. The food was amazing. The beautiful, like the water where it just glowed, all these different colors of blue and emerald green. It was so beautiful when the sun shined on it. I couldn't believe it. And the people, it was the people. So the people, they work so hard.
They do.
They are so, they're innovative, and they know how to, like, they're resourceful. They know how to, like I was, one of my students out there, she's from Jamaica, but she's got a bunch of listings out in Jamaica, but she's in Florida. So she was there with us. Look, it was like anything we wanted to do. It was just a phone call or a text. It happened, right? And it was just amazing. And the people that she connected us with, the collaborations we did while we were there, same thing. Like it was, but here's the thing. I learned that there's so many, with all of those people, there are 3 million people on the island, and all of those people with all the ingenuity, with all the resourcefulness, with all the drive and the creativity, they only owned, out of 3 million people, they only owned 20% of the land. 80% of the land is owned by 36 people.
Wow.
Yeah. And what seems to happen is, this is what happens, y'all. What happens is we get distracted by all the things that the media is teaching us and wants us to believe so that it could create the narrative to keep us focused on other things other than the gifts that we truly have that could make us wealthy. Because if all of us started putting all that stuff into place, like all these things into action, the genius that we all have into action, it won't be 20% ownership. You'd be owning most of that land. But that ain't just them. It just helped me to realize what we do here in America too. And then, because what happened, like, and I'm not talking about black or white. I'm just talking about people in general who are not living the vision that God's given them. Like the vision, God's given us so much vision and gifts and tools. You look at our kids, right? And you can see, can't you see sometimes you were just talking about your son just turned 25, and I know there's so many things you've seen in your son that he couldn't even yet see in himself. And he thinks, right? Like he's thinking, oh, that's just mom. Mom's just gonna say anything to hype me up, right? But you see it, right, Leslie?
Yeah.
And then like you just support the things that he has a desire to do, because you know that eventually once he does it, it will be successful. And that's what, like, the Lord told us that when he also, like, he gave us an example of that when we all came together and we were trying to build this ladder to reach the heavens. He was like, wait. Y'all can't do that, because in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to scatter y'all. I'm going to change your languages and everything, so y'all can't really communicate that well together. We're going to cause a little bit of confusion. Why? Because he said, what did he say? He says, if man comes together, if they come together, there's nothing that they couldn't accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
So the divide and conquer is a strategy that the elite have used so that it will keep us in financial bondage.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I I'm not one of those guys that is, but that's why I say I don't like to work, because I know with the gifts that God given me, that what I have the ability to create will allow my family and my descendants to continue to be able to live off of for the rest of their lives and generations to come, if I teach them and show them. And what I'm saying to everyone who's listening is, you got the same gifts. May not be the same exact gift that I have, because God didn't give anyone everything of him, but what he did give is everyone something of him. And what that something is a seed of creativity in a gift that he's blessed you with. And if you understand how to use it, then guess what? You're already, well, first of all, if you're working, you're already using it. You're using it to make millions of dollars for somebody else.
Yes. Right.
Most of us are just scared because we've been taught that, oh, you can't do this. The way to do it, the way you do it is you got to work this job for 40 years. And that's your security net. That's hogwash. We bought into that life for so many years because of mom and dad and grandma and granddad and nana, and then when it's time to do it, you all scared and shaky. But yet every day you walk in there, you making millions of dollars for somebody else. Right? That's what's happening in Jamaica. It happens here. And guess what? I bought into that life for 9 years and realized, you know what? This is my dream job, but it's definitely not my dream. And less than 2 years later, after leaving, I was making over $1 million a year. It ain't because I'm special. It's just because I believed. That's it. I just believed and I took the leap. Most people are not ready to take that leap. So anyway, I just, when you talk about Leslie, how we're not educated at the table, the
Right.
dinner table about these things. Guess what? Those who have, they're talking at the dinner table about these things.
Right. And so a funny thing. So I'm a loan officer at the bank, but another part of what I do is a lot of community engagement, right? So I do a lot of sessions, workshops on homeownership, financial literacy, working with people on their credit, working with people to find grants and down payment assistance to be able to buy that first house.
Yeah.
So, with a lot of the statistics that are coming out, kind of holding banks accountable to, their lending practices to people of different, nationalities and approval rates and denial rates and areas in which they lend. A lot of banks now are investing money in, minority areas, right? Various different ways. They're upping their philanthropy efforts to different nonprofit groups. They're pooling, or set aside dollars for the financial literacy piece, right? So I'm able to get paid like I normally get paid just by going out and speaking to different groups, church groups, trade associations, whatever, about homeownership, financial literacy. So one of I call them bean counters at the bank, was looking at some matrix and was looking at some of my matrices in particular, and had said kind of off the cuff, oh, she's out doing all the fun things, right? Meaning educating people, educating us, opposed to in front of the computer writing loans.
Didn't like that.
Yeah, so it's like, that leads to the loans if you didn't know that yet.
Yeah.
But the education piece leads to the writing of the loans. It may not happen quickly, it may take a year or 2 years or whatever for people to, finally get over, like you said, the mindset and the fear, and to say, hey, I can do this. I work with so many people, they're literally afraid to have me even pull their credit report.
I know.
They don't even want me to pull their credit report. I'm like, I can't help you until I know what I'm working with here. You're not going to have a heart attack. You still going to be breathing. Okay, so we're going to do this and get it started. But I mean, like you said, that just goes to the mindset and the mentality.
Sister, you taking me back. I'm going to tell you, you're taking me back. Let me tell you why I say you're taking me back. Because when I told you how I made my first, I told you that I made my first $1 million like in the first couple of years. You know how I did it? Those same people who were afraid didn't know, they did not believe that they had the ability to buy property. Those are the same people that were renting all my stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute. If these people knew that they could own and I could help them get a home because I have the ability to get them, and I can show them that they can own by getting them the money, how many people would buy property? And I said, you know what? I bet it would be a lot. And so I tested it. Remember back in the day when you were marketing, you had to put ads in the newspaper. Remember that little classified ads? Well, I tested it with a couple classified ads, and the people, I was like, and this is the thing, like when I put an ad in the paper for my rentals, my phone would ring off the hook, and I'm telling you, I used to hate it. I hated talking to tenants or people who were wanting to rent my places because I was saying the same thing over and over and over again. It was ringing off the hook to the point where when it comes to voicemail automation, I learned how to do that real early without somebody having to teach me, because I was like, I am not talking to all these people all the time. So I created a voicemail, told them everything about the rental, and if they were still interested, then they had to call me or do something, because I was not telling everybody. No, they just show up, and they wasn't call me. Show up to the place at this time. That's all I did. Well, I said, you know what? I wonder if I did the same thing with people and told them that they have the ability to, instead of renting, they could buy, and it was almost guaranteed. And they were like, and then I said, I'm going to put an ad in and see what they did. My phone rang off the hook. And now I wasn't renting places, I was selling places, but I wasn't selling places that I owned. I was selling places that I had control over. And then I had the knowledge of how to get them the funding for that. And then boom, all these people, new first-time home buyers, was just happening, blah, 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 blah. And this wasn't for an agency. This was just out of my creativity, my ingenuity, putting the things together that God gave me vision for, gave me gifts for, and then helping. But here's the key: serving people. Just serving people. And that's what you're doing. But a lot of times people don't want you to be serving certain people. Right. And you getting some flack serving people. But that's how you got to do it, right? You got to do it. And but that's what I found. Like, you're right. There's people who just don't believe that they could do it because the narratives are saying that no, like, we're not. Well, first of all, the narrative, it may not be the narrative. It's also when you show up, because you don't fit the profile, whether it be credit, whether it be the way you look, the way you sound, where you live, and or your income, most people ain't gonna spend no time with you.
Yeah, and that's the sad part of this industry. Like, there's not, there's people don't even know what a loan officer is or does, right? So there's not a lot of people that look like me in this industry, especially in Rochester. Yep. I mean, it's becoming more prevalent that I see with social media, especially like in the South. I see more Black loan officers and bankers and brokers for mortgage. But for the majority of people that are in my position, they don't really care about our plight. Okay, so
that ain't helping me. What you mean? No, that ain't help. That ain't feeding my kids. That's extra work, right?
Exactly. That's what is extra work, to have to sit down and work with someone, to get them to the place where they can be mortgage ready. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of effort. And then secondly, most of the people that are in my position are commissioned employees. Yeah. You have some that have a different kind of, structure like me, but then you have some people that are 100% commission. So if I'm 100% commission and I get a client and they can't go through that automated system, then you know what? Sorry. When you get yourself together, I'll be happy to help you. On to the next one.
On to the next one. So what would you say? Because we'll wrap it up in a little bit. What would you say? And I appreciate you sharing that insider information, because everybody don't get this. What would you say to people?
Do I get a cut? No.
Well, yeah, you getting a cut. I share some stuff with you too. But we'll hook up. We'll hang out a little bit, because I know you're trying to get yourself rolling, and I got something for you. So listen, and plus you know Tony. So he doesn't just introduce me to anyone, by the way, just so you know. So let me ask you, what would you say to people? And oh, by the way, Leslie, here's the thing. Here's your real cut, because I don't get a cut. This is all free. The stuff, the game I'm sharing right now is free. It's on YouTube Live. So you can, if you want, I asked you if you were shy or not. While you can also just tell your name or whoever, if you desire, and if there's someone who is looking for a mortgage or something, like make sure you drop your information. I'll make sure it's in the comments in the comments too, so that if people want to reach out to you for a mortgage or for some information, they can do that. But what would you say to people who are in that maybe in that category of, I don't think I can, or I feel like based on what everyone has said about my scores or my credit or my finances, that like I'm not worthy to own a house or to borrow any money? Like, what would you say to those people as far as whether it be preparation or mindset, or really what the true reality is about them?
I mean, the true reality is that you do have to change your mindset, and you absolutely are worthy, and you absolutely can own a home. It's just that you have to be connected with the right people that's going to be able to help you and guide you through it. And there are people out there like that, like me. There's different resources that are in every community, but people just have to reach out and be resourceful and find it. So, if you're breathing, if you got a job and you working and you paying rent, then you can buy a house. Period.
You heard that.
Whether you have a lot of money or not, because especially here where I am, like especially in New York State and about 10 other states are, 10 other 50 states are states that have the most assistance for first-time home buyers in terms of grants for down payment, closing to help you close on the property. There's more assistance in New York State and California and these other 10 states than across the country. So if you're in New York, you definitely in the right state. You just need to be connected with the right people to kind of guide you through that and give you the resources where that you'll be able to do it. But you can absolutely do it.
Awesome. Listen, she's telling you because she's seen a lot of people get turned down, and she's also turned around a lot of people. And just so y'all know, I've never met Leslie up until the time we went
An hour ago.
So I didn't know what necessarily we're going to talk about. I just wanted to make sure I could point her in the right direction because I know she had some interest in Airbnb. She was introduced to me from one of my Wealth BNB members, and and I just thought, man, that's cool. Let's get her on. Let's get her on a Zoom, and I'll do what I can to give her some tips and point her in the right direction. And while she was here, though, I'm like, wait, she got game too. So like, share some of that game you got, because it's all about, this is what the collaborations are about, y'all. Like, one of the things I tell you guys, if you're one of my students, like, the greatest successes that I've had in business and the greatest successes that all of you have had is through strategic collaboration. It ain't about, it's always about win-win. So it's about strategic collaborations, because that will accelerate, it'll put the 10x on your success, because there's things that you don't know. There's resources that you don't have directly that others know and have. And when you collaborate and it's win-win, now there's things that you bring to the table, they bring to the table, that you help them, they help you, and boom. Like, it's like when you do it right, it's like a flame to gunpowder. It just blows up. Right. And that's been the greatest successes that I've had. And that's why our community is the way it is because we have a lot of people like Leslie that are just brilliant in all kinds of different industries, who we all have the same goal, the same big why, right? That vision that God's given us for our life and our family, to be able to live that and be in alignment with his assignment. So Leslie, this was awesome. Thank you. Listen, if I don't know if there's anything if you want to share your name or where they can reach you. If you're not, if that's cool, if you're good, go ahead.
So I did. I put my business card in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah. Awesome. Anyone is interested in information, they can reach out, and then hopefully we can connect again, Jim.
I'll post that, and we will connect again. I know Tony's on his way to Las Vegas. He's gonna hang out with his sweetie, and his sweetie. They're gonna do that. I told him if he wanted to leave his credit cards with me so I can lock them up for him. He's like, because so he don't go and gamble it all the way. He's like, nah, I don't really do it too much. He said,
Chinese, Joe.
Oh, hey. Hey, Tynese.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. God bless you. Yeah, you about to head out?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. Well, enjoy it. That's amazing. Well, you guys have fun. I think. Well, it's been a few months since y'all went on your last excursion. Y'all on a cruise a few months back, right?
Yes, indeed.
Christmas.
I won 19,000.
That was awesome. Is that how you ended the year? Or was it Christmas or was it New Year's?
Christmas.
Oh, it's Christmas. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to having you guys out here. It's gonna be fun when you guys, because I know you got family, you got your grandkids out in Florida. So what y'all waiting for?
I know, I'm ready. I'm ready.
I know you're ready. So when you come back, maybe we'll connect. But
Okay.
All right. So and oh, by the way, I don't know. He might have told you. He may have told you. I hope I ain't spilling the beans. But Tony's got you. You and Tony. I'm gonna say you and Tony have some Airbnb. You have some Airbnbs right out here in beautiful Sarasota, literally a mile and a half from one of the most frequented, the best beaches in the country in Siesta Key. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
She's too busy teaching our kids.
Oh, well, Tynese,
Huh?
I just spilled the beans. I'm sorry, Tony, if I didn't.
I gotta go check it out.
So you could come and stay anytime you want because it's yours. So,
Okay. I'm on my way. Right after this trip.
amen, Tony. All right, now you got a lot to talk about when you go to Las Vegas. Sorry, I hope I didn't get you in trouble, brother.
It's all good.
All right. I was just over there yesterday, just checking out some things too, just going through it. So and Diamond and I will be touring. She's gonna be overseeing that stuff. But anyway, listen, y'all travel safely. God bless you. And
Yes, Tony, thanks for the introduction.
Oh, thank you, Leslie.
Safe
Thank
travels.
You. Thanks, Coach.
God bless you. You're welcome,
this
bro.
Was good.
It was
This
good.
real good.
Hey,
Yes, it was.
Tony, is there anything you want to share before we hang out? Because I know you're a realtor and all that stuff. You got all this experience. If there's anything you wanted to drop before you get off, you can. You're more than welcome. I wasn't trying to keep you out.
No, I'm trying to focus on getting out of here. But, this is all good. This is great. The collaboration, I really see the benefit of it, and just the networking.
Amen.
I'm excited. I'm
Amen.
excited.
Well, you wouldn't. No, not many people can go from 0 to 54 listings in 4 months, and it's on their own. It's about collaborations,
Yeah, we
right?
have to try, Tony.
Yeah.
But you talking to Jim?
Yeah, we already got a group text going. We got a group text going,
Okay.
Leslie. So just send me a quick message and I'll send you some stuff. All right.
Okay.
All right, sister.
All righty. Thank you so much.
You're
Nice to
welcome.
meet
God
you.
bless you. It was a
Have a
pleasure.
good trip, Tony.
All right. Thank
All
you.
right.
Be blessed, everyone.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so for those of y'all, if you got questions, like I gave you the link so you could come in and ask questions, but nobody did. Now, if you do have questions, though, one of the other things I'll do is I'm going to give y'all, and let's see how many people take it. I'll give you access to my Zoom link because I said I would, and then you could jump in the Zoom, my private Zoom, and then we'll you can ask me questions, and because remember, even though Leslie's not here, I dropped it in the chat. So I just dropped it in the Zoom chat. You're all welcome to join me. And remember, though, I was also a commercial lender for many years, and I also help a lot of people out with funding right now, non-traditional funding now. Like all of our students, they're getting access to hundreds of thousands of dollars. So if you want to jump on my Zoom, we can chat for a few minutes. I don't normally do this, but it's Saturday, and what I'm going to do in a little bit after we're done, I'm getting ready to get out of here and go have some fun with my sweetie too. So I think we're gonna go to the beach and just hang out. I've been, I don't know if I'm gonna break fast today. I've been fasting for the last 3 days straight, fasting for clarity and fasting for just really God's hand to just be over everything that we're doing and over the family. There's just a lot going on, and so both of us have been fasting for the family and clarity. And so 3 days straight, I haven't had a bite to eat in 3 days, just water. And so I don't really talk about fasting. I tell people about it, but the reason why I'm telling you all is because, two things. When the disciples were trying to cast out these demons from this man, they couldn't. They were praying, and they couldn't do it. And Jesus said, well, some things can't be broken just with prayer. It has to be with prayer and fasting. And so, and all throughout the Bible, it talks about how when certain things were happening, people would tear their clothes and cover themselves with ashes and fast, right? And and so it's not a legalistic thing that we do. It's really, our battle is not against flesh and blood. Like I could be the smartest man in the world, I could be the richest man in the world, I could be the nicest man in the world, but no matter with all of that, if I'm battling the powers and principalities with my flesh, you're gonna lose every time. It's spiritual. It's all spiritual. So the prayer is, Lord, just allow me to look beyond the things I can see. And so I'm telling you all this, one, so that if you're going through some things, pray, fast, but also pray for me. Like, pray for me, because we're that's one thing I do every day, is I pray for all you guys too. So but if you're jumping on the Zoom, go ahead and jump on. If you're not, then I'm going to shut this down as well, and then we can and then I'll just see you guys later. So God bless you. Thanks for joining and watching. And if this was helpful for you, do 3 things. 1, and the third thing is the most important. But the first thing is, go ahead and subscribe. 2 is I'll say 2 and 2A, because it's not the third thing. 2 is share it with someone. 2A is comment. Make comments in the video, because I love to communicate through comments with you and that. But here's the third thing. The third thing is the most important. Implement it. Like, implement the stuff. So we just shared a lot of stuff here today. And it's nice to listen. It's nice to hear. But if you're in a situation where you desire to have the freedom to break your family, to be able to build a legacy, help family members, be more of a blessing to the church, break your family out of that financial bondage, the generational cycles, begin building that generational wealth, be able to travel and build on those gifts and those talents, nurture them in yourself and your kids and your grandkids, nurture them in a way that you can really make your mark on the world, on your family, and on society where you're called to. You got to implement the stuff. You can't just keep sitting. You heard what Leslie said. She said what? She said, most people just don't believe they can do it. And it's because of the things that they've been taught and how people have been treating them for so many years. And you just lose belief that you can do it. And so just believe. Implement the stuff. This stuff is not that hard. And when you do, spend, one thing you could do is spend that 4 days with me on the Family Financial Freedom Challenge. Do that. You'll understand that it can be done, because you're going to get results on day 1. But implement the stuff. I'm going to drop Leslie's information in here. You could call her if you want to. If you're trying to get a mortgage or whatever for your house, call her. As I said, I haven't even met her before until this. But Tony doesn't just introduce me to anyone. So implement. So with that said, God bless you. You got this, and I'll see you on the next video.